Kupp for Ohio State.
You've waited all day for this.
He's going to take it to the house. 85 yards. Down the right side going Devin Smith. Got it at the 5 and into the end zone. Touchdown.
The one show that's nothing but the Buckeyes.
Brad Rucker for the touchdown. Kraft shoots it high on the right for 3.
This is the Buckeye Show.
Off and rolling here on a Thursday. I am Brandon Beam, hanging out with the Murph Dog, and of course our guy NATEDOGG, the Nate Dog. 2 dogs behind the glass. Murph, happy Thursday, happy America's Birthday Eve. What's happening, buddy?
Pretty excited. Love 4th of July. So
that's a very Upper Arlington thing of you to say.
Yes,
you guy, that's your Super Bowl.
It is really. I have had multiple people over the last week be like, "Hey, your big day's coming up," and I'm like, "My birthday's not for another couple weeks." And they're like, "No, 4th of July, you idiot."
Yeah,
and I'm like, "Oh, yes.
4th of July is a very big deal over in Upper Arlington.
Yeah, you got.
I mean, as it is around the city.
Yeah.
It is, of course. Tonight we've got Boom downtown, but for you guys, it's spectacular. Like Dublin, it's the Memorial Tournament. Like that's their Super Bowl. Your guys is the 4th.
Yeah, ever since I moved there, right before I turned 10, the summer before I turned 10, it's been a big deal. My parents lived on the parade route, so we would get up in the mornings. Friends would come over. We'd sit out front. Our chairs had been there for like 3 weeks.
That was the weirdest thing about living there, because we used to live on the corner of Northwest and Waltham, which is right on the parade route as well. And if you've never been to the Upper Arlington Parade, it goes all the way down Northwest, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
And so, I mean, it was the first time we were there. I'm like, I'm just wondering to myself, I'm like, what are these chairs doing out here in the middle of June? Like, what are they for?
Got to save your place.
And then I quickly realized that it's a BFD. It was a big deal.
Yeah. My parents no longer live where they did, but about half a block down, my buddy Paul's parents live there. And Paul lives in Portsmouth. I rarely talk to him until the 4th of July. But every year it's just, we're walking up and it's like, hopefully Paul's parents didn't move. Otherwise, we're going to hang out in someone else's front yard for a while.
I'm sure you'll be fine. You can find plenty of spots.
They tell me every year, we're not going anywhere. So we'll see.
Yeah, you're going to be fine. You're good. We've got a great show lined up for you here this evening. Got a commitment to go over here quickly. We did the Jeremiah Smith Hour last night, Pat. We'll get your thoughts on some of the JJ comments as well. We got a couple of Buckeyes who are ready to break out this NFL season. Get into that coming up here at the bottom of the hour. It's not a Friday, but it feels like a Friday because nobody's working tomorrow. So we'll do the Power 5 coming up here around 6:46 this evening. Power 5 best things to do on the 4th of July, or just the best things about the 4th of July. So we'll do that. We'll do the Pulse at 7 o'clock. And then you spent hours and hours and hours doing research on the Buckeye quarter century team.
Yeah, I did this over the course of like the last week and a half.
Yeah.
And like when we talked about other stories I've written that have debatable content, there were people that disagreed. So I would bring up where people disagree.
Yeah, so we'll do that in the 7 o'clock hour. We'll have some fun with you along the way, Pat. But let's get to it here this evening. Buckeyes got to commit. We were talking to Berm a little bit earlier in the week, and he said just watch the radar on this one because it was announced today. At a quarterback out of Mission Viejo, California, 4-star Luke Feshe gave his commitment to the Buckeyes. And I was watching the video that Berm put out on our YouTube channel a little bit earlier. He had the chance to sit down and talk to Luke. I believe he first received an offer from Ohio State May 12th. Fast forward less than 2 months, he is already now committed to the Buckeyes.
He visited Ohio State without an offer.
Yeah.
Which is not normal. Awesome to have that confidence in yourself. Hey, let's go see it and see if I can make an impact on them. Obviously, Ohio State, we've talked about it before, doesn't have a 2026 quarterback or didn't have a 2026 quarterback. And so that was an area they wanted to fill. I want to make it pretty clear. I have not seen Luke play, but everything I've read, the little bit I've seen from him online, I don't think this is just a throw-in guy to have a quarterback in the class.
Because there are some of those guys sometimes.
Sure. And like Dabo Sweeney used to talk about, and this is college football has changed, recruiting's changed, but he would talk about how every other year you needed to land that elite guy, right? It was like Taj Boyd, Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence. They're all a year or two apart. And you don't need a all-star quarterback every year. Otherwise, the room becomes a little bit of an issue.
It's untenable, especially nowadays.
Right. Nowadays, they're just hopping in the portal, right? Yeah. Back then, it was like, well, everybody wants to play. There's only one ball, and it's a position that only one guy gets on the field. So this is certainly a guy who I think has an opportunity to come in and maybe not win a job right away, given what the Buckeyes have in that room. But, a little bit undersized for what you want, like right at 6 foot is where he's listed, but really accurate from everything I've read about him. We had on 24/7 Sports, he was out at the South County Classic 7-on-7. I believe that was out in California. He won the Alpha Dog Award at it.
I love an Alpha Dog.
And here was a quote from people that were out there that watched him. Feshe's a great quarterback for any setting, but especially dialed in on the 7-on-7 level. He was absolutely surgical, all event, and among the country's most accurate quarterbacks.
Okay.
I think you like that. 7-on-7, not real football.
Yes, but I mean, it's close.
Right.
And you're 4 players away from it being a real football game.
Yeah, and those are linemen on either side of the ball.
Yes, that's how 7-on-7 works.
I would say that you would rather have a guy who, when he plays 7-on-7, is blowing people away, and then you figure out the rest once he gets on campus and the bullets start flying and things like that. And look, Ryan Day has done a good job with quarterbacks, I believe.
Has he?
Billy Fessler.
Yeah.
Also, it seems doing good things with quarterbacks. So
Will Howard just gushing about Billy Fessler all of last season.
Yeah, and obviously Will Howard, very different frame, but came in, improved over the course of the year to the point where he was an NFL draft pick, won a national championship, right? So we'll see what happens, but I think this is a good spot for the Buckeyes, and this is a kid who's rising, as I mentioned, wins that award. I think people are starting to take notice. I think people will notice even more now that he's an Ohio State commit.
Yeah, for sure. And again, when I was watching this video with Berm, when we were talking to him a little bit earlier in the week, I know that we get a little bit carried away sometimes with doing player comps, but Berm said that he does have a eerie resemblance to Russell Wilson, is what he was saying. Because, I mean, you think about Russ and, all that time that he spent first at NC State, and then he transferred to Wisconsin, had some success there, goes to Seattle, wins the Super Bowls, 1 play away from winning back-to-back. Really good, can move around the pocket, can beat you with his legs as well, tad bit undersized, and does wear the number 3, which is what Luke Feshe wears as well. So Berm going with the player comp for Luke Feshe as being a Russell Wilson.
Love it. And look, you saw obviously a very different Big Ten back when Russell made the move to Wisconsin, but had a lot of success in this conference. So we'll see what ends up happening here. Obviously, the quarterback room is loaded with talent. There's only more quarterbacks on the way. We talked about Brady Edmonds a few weeks ago. So lots of competition there, but that's what you want if you are an Ohio State fan. You want to have the best of the best in that room and guys competing every day.
Overall rank for Ohio State still in this recruiting class, USC is number 1 with 1 5-star player, 19 4-star players, 3 10-stars, and 298.7 points on the 24/7 Sports composite big board. Georgia is at 2, Notre Dame is at 3, Texas A&M is at 4. Ohio State standing pat through all of the drama over the last 10 days or so. Ohio State still standing strong at number 5.
Yeah, and look, if you're Ohio State, would you like to be a little bit higher?
Yeah.
Yes, but that top 5 is usually right about where you want to be in terms of being able to compete at the level Ohio State has. Now, if you want to get real technical and break it down by positions,
need some DNs.
Yeah, that's the spot. They could still use another offensive lineman or 2, but they've done pretty well in that area. So I think you're happy so far. And look, this class is not done. We have until December before kids can sign. So as much as we've seen, defensive ends, for instance, committing elsewhere, they're not locked in. There's nothing locking them to those programs, so still opportunity for us.
Yeah, still doing fine on the recruiting trail. Big congratulations to Luke Feshe and his commitment. Again, 4-star quarterback out of Mission Viejo, California, giving his commitment to Ohio State today. J.J. Smith had a lot to say over these course of the last couple of days. Pat, we'll get your take on some of his comments coming up next. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
The sound of Paul Keels calling a Buckeye game is erotic.
Oh, yes.
Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
And now, Public Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Scott Damaro.
As we celebrate Independence Day this week, we need to celebrate and protect our students' freedom to learn. Public education is the foundation of a strong democracy. When we remember our American history, both the good and the bad, our students grow as critical thinkers who can write themselves into the history books of tomorrow.
Public Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association.
Hey there, I'm Brad. I'm about to win the Tuesday Night Bowling League Championship. Strike.
I'm also a highway worker for the Ohio Department of Transportation. When you move over and slow down, you're not only giving me room to work, you're making sure I can build a winning strike with my buddies.
Roadside workers have lives and families, but when they're on the job, they put it all on the line to protect and serve us. When you see flashing lights, remember, they're not just roadside workers. Thank you for moving over and slowing down.
What is dippable and dunkable? And now at Donato's, it's Donato's new chicken dippers. Flavorful boneless chicken breast tenders served up with 7 amazing dipping sauce options, including new garlic parmesan and sweet chili. For a limited time, try new chicken dippers for just $5 on the $5 Pizza Pals menu. More toppings, more flavor, more fun. Donato's. Gotta love more.
When it comes to your cancer diagnosis, the choice for your care is clear.
And when you choose the James at Ohio State,
you're opting for care from a highly specialized team dedicated to treating one type of cancer, yours.
Where more than 1,700 scientists are working on new treatments and new hope for every form of cancer.
You're making the choice to have the most advanced treatments, many of which were developed right here.
For your cancer care, the choice is clear. The James at Ohio State.
They're trained. They're prepared. Let's do it. They're Ohio's undefeated plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling team. And they're here to tackle your problems. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Experience Buckeye game day like never before. Welcome to the 1922 Club, the most exclusive space inside Ohio Stadium, where luxury meets tradition in the heart of Buckeye Nation. Enjoy upscale food and beverages and a game day atmosphere like no other. Create lasting memories with friends and mingling with other Buckeye fans, and celebrate every OHIO in ultimate comfort. Become a member of the 1922 Club today. Memberships are limited. Visit OhioStateBuckeyes.com.
Much like a vampire, we need to be invited into your house. But once we're in, we never leave. Listen to The Fan on your Alexa or Google Home smart speaker. Just say play 97.1 The Fan and prepare to be amazed. Do it now.
Health insurance companies are expected to carry health benefits, but CareSource does so much more. We look beyond doctors' offices and hospitals to see the challenges that face our members. Then we help them achieve not just better health, but better lives. Along with great benefits, we also help our members find stable jobs, housing, childcare, and rides so they can find greater independence. At CareSource, we're removing barriers, we're improving lives, we're reimagining healthcare.
Things are popping at Al's Delicious Popcorn. With over 80 flavors to choose from, we have something for everyone. From classics like caramel cashew, white cheddar, and our famous vanilla butternut, to new flavors like chicken and waffles and spicy barbecue. They are all made fresh and they are all delicious. Visit us online at alspopcorn.com or come see us and experience the best service in town at 1500 Bethel Road in Columbus. Al's Delicious Popcorn.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Sunny skies, light winds, and a warm finish on this Thursday. Temperatures in the mid to upper 80s. Just the risk of a shower this evening. They'll be gone by fireworks time tonight. Friday morning, temperatures in the mid 60s with fair skies and light winds. Plenty of sunshine and a nice 4th of July afternoon with highs around 90 degrees. With your 10 weather impact forecast, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jerry Martz on The Fan.
4 out of 5 dentists recommend this show. The other dentist is a Michigan fan. Yuck. You're listening to The Buckeye Show.
Got our guy Patrick Murphy in here tonight. Coming up 6:46, we'll do the Power 5. Just 5 best things you like about 4th of July. Put your thinking caps on, all right?
It won't take long for me to think of those.
Well, just put your thinking caps on.
All right.
Nate, put your thinking caps on, all right? So we got that to look forward to, which is nice. To you, and I know that you read the article by Manny Navarro of The Athletic, and Austin and I spent a lot of time over the last couple of days kind of dissecting the comments by Jeremiah Smith. What was the biggest thing that stood out to you? Was it the Michigan comment? Was it the Julian Sayin comment? Was it, in the next 2 or 3 years here at Ohio State, like what I can accomplish? Just to you, what was the biggest piece of that puzzle?
Well, first of all, the 2 or 3 years.
Yeah?
This is the second time he said that. He also said it right after the national championship game. I don't know. I mean, like, I would bet nearly everything I have that Jeremiah Smith is in the NFL draft after 3 years as a college athlete. But
I was watching Austin and Berm this morning, and Berm asked a question that about eviscerated my mind. When he asked Austin, I could see, I've worked with Austin enough, you'd work with Austin enough, I could see the wheels just churning in his head. Where Berm asked him, he goes, what's more likely? Jeremiah Smith stays for 1 more season at Ohio State, or Jeremiah Smith stays for 3 more seasons at Ohio State? And then I'm like, boy, that is a really good question, because I know that he had agents and other people across the NFL like telling him, like, you can test the waters now. Like, I know that it's an entirely different situation than what it was when Maurice Clarett tried it after the 0-2 season. I'm not even saying from a standpoint of, like, he's transferring. Like, he's not even a college football player. I don't know which one is the higher likelihood.
I mean, we've seen guys just go train for a full year, right?
Yeah.
And they've been
Jamar
drafted.
Chase?
Yeah, exactly. So I would say it's probably more likely that he only plays 1 more year than plays 3, but that's just me. To answer your question, though, I think there were a couple things. First, the Michigan stuff, obviously, because that blew up all over social media. I read that before I even saw the article. And
So when I first saw that, I'm like, all right, is this a real quote?
Oh, sure.
You know, I'm like, where did this come from? Because we've got fake quotes out there all the time. And then I forget who it was that tweeted out the link to the article. I'm like, all right, let me dive in to see if this is real.
Right.
If this is a real thing that actually exists on planet Earth. And it was. It turned out to be true.
Yes, and, like, great quote. I think if you're a Buckeye fan, you'd love to hear that. There's also the matter of, like, how does everyone feel about the Michigan game, which I think is a whole nother can of worms that we're going to have to dissect over the next few years with the new college football playoff. But one thing that stood out is just the way that the article began, talking about Shedeur Sanders, Cam Newton, Robert Griffin III, and Geno Smith were all at this event. And the person that everyone wanted to be around was Jeremiah Smith. And that's just been his life, right? I mean,
ever since his recruitment.
Yeah, but it really blew up last year. And like, I remember, and I wrote about this back in, May, after the Student Appreciation Day at Ohio State. It ends, and the fans are kind of lined around the field, and they're given the green light to go talk to players. And if you're Jeremiah Smith, it looked like you were about to fight a war with how many people were just coming at you from all sides.
Yeah, you were Jon Snow at Harvard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so just dealing with all that as a sophomore in college, and I know that, look, if you're an Ohio State athlete, especially one who plays early, guys have dealt with this forever, but you're in just a different world now. Social media, NIL, like all of this, like your life is so different than most Ohio State athletes that have come before you. And so that stood out to me. Certainly the Julian Sayin stuff, I think it's similar to what we've heard from guys back, even going back to the NFL Combine, some of the guys that were leaving, even going back to last fall, like fall camp, some of the stuff that was sort of coming out behind the scenes of like, yeah, Will Howard's going to win the job. But this kid, there's a reason he's in the mix.
He was a 5-star, and his recruitment was pretty high profile.
So, look, I mean, I was at some of the spring practices this year where Julian didn't look great. But there is something there. And that's why when people have asked me, I'm like, yeah, I think Lincoln could lead this team and they would be really good. But I don't know if it's a when the lights go on type of thing with Julian, or maybe we just caught the wrong days when we were there. And we did see some good days. And obviously the spring game, he was very good too, right? But there's a reason, like you said, he was rated as high as he is, that they were in on him, that Alabama was in on him.
Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, he would have been probably Nick Saban's last quarterback because we knew that he was getting towards the end, right? And that Nick Saban and the Alabama staff did pretty well with quarterbacks towards the end of his tenure.
Yes,
so
they did.
That, to me, to hear Jeremiah Smith, a classmate of his who obviously has caught passes from him, not just older guys kind of talking up some young guys, I think that is certainly something to take note of.
It was the Julian Sayin comments for me is what I kind of locked my teeth into first. I'm like, all right, well, given the circumstances, that you are the most popular player in college football this year. You can mention those guys at the very beginning of the article, Cam Newton, Geno Smith, et cetera, et cetera. You're the most popular player around them, and those guys are certified NFL veterans, legends, Cam Newton in his case, and you're already the most popular kid there. I find it hard to believe and hard to fathom that those words don't mean anything, that the arm has got some pop to it, he's going to be scary, that those words don't mean anything. Now, to be fair to Lincoln Kienholz, I don't know if he was asked about.
That was what I was going to say.
And Austin and I, we dove into that, I think, on Tuesday's show when we were talking about it in the 7 o'clock hour, that if he asked about Lincoln Kienholz, what was said? Or you just got the Julian Sayin comments. What do you think about him and being in a quarterback competition with Lincoln? It's hard not to be excited for your classmate, guy who you're a prospective quarterback that is going to be throwing you balls. But yeah, I thought the Julian Sayin comments rang pretty big, given the amount of intensity and quarterback competition that we're going to go through and the circumstances that we haven't seen either guy really that much.
Right. Well, and I think if this were just a one-off, okay, fine, maybe he's just talking up a buddy of his, right? Mm-hmm. But it's not. As I said, other guys have said this publicly as well, too, coming out of the program. And then you heard the buzz about him last offseason, preseason, whatnot. So this is why I think everyone has assumed all offseason, even though the quarterback competition, based on what we saw and what Ryan Day told us and what Billy Fessler told us, is close, why everyone is pretty convinced that Julian's going to be the guy, because we hear things like this publicly, privately, and we've seen it in bits and pieces.
Yeah. Just again, if you didn't see the quote from Jeremiah Smith on Julian Sayin, he goes, that arm is different. He can make any and every throw. Just a smart quarterback. Like me, he's a little bit quiet. He's starting to come out of a shell. He's definitely going to be a guy. It's going to be scary for opponents. Yeah, it's just he's the best player in college football. And when you say that about a quarterback who is in a quarterback competition, I just tend to believe he's not saying that for no reason.
No. And again, I think context is important with these quotes of, okay, was he asked, like you're saying, directly about Julian Sayin? Was he asked, like, hey, who's standing out to you? There's a lot of different ways you could get to that quote, right? But again, I'll just keep going back to lots of guys are saying that. Denzel Burke at the Combine, he's going to be a great player, was the quote that sort of made waves that first or second day at the Combine. Denzel Burke's not a guy who just blows smoke.
No, he's not. He's not a smoke blower.
He was wait and see on Jeremiah Smith, and he was one of the few. I mean, he wanted to see it before everyone else was ready to hype him up.
And then if you go back to Jeremiah's first offseason here in Columbus, where he earned Iron Buckeye and got that black stripe shed maybe like day one after spring ball, you fast forward to Student Appreciation Day, and you saw Jeremiah Smith dunking on Denzel Burke. Right. That was the first like social media buzz for Jeremiah around the program. One was the black stripe removal, and then the second one was the Student Appreciation Day he had his freshman season.
Yeah, the quote, the one I will say, Denzel Burke did say Lincoln's pretty good too. I'm ready to see this matchup they're going to have. But he also said, when asked about when he knew Julian Sayin was special, he said, I mean, a couple of practices in when he first got here, just the way he's throwing the ball, how he is to himself, he's all about ball. I could just tell.
Okay.
So again,
it echoes the same sentiment.
Exactly.
What did you make of the Michigan comments? I'm not a sore loser, but I hate losing, and losing to that team up north was pretty crazy. In the end, I think it really helped us play the way we did in the playoffs. But I didn't want to go to Ohio State and lose to the team up north. I just hate them. Something about them. For the next 2 years, I promise you, I will not lose to them. I can't lose to them for the next 2 years.
From a guy who's coming from out of state especially, I think this is great for Ohio State, because we've talked about it. That rivalry needs to continue to mean something. And I think a lot of guys, they come here, they learn about the rivalry. You've probably heard about it before, but it's different when you grow up watching that game and it's everything, right? As a fan.
And if you're here.
Right. And so I think the fact that he is, I don't think he's just saying this to give a quote for a reporter. Like, I think he's learned pretty quickly that this game isn't one you can lose. And he has experienced a loss. He saw the guys, we talked about it, Jack Sawyer, Cody Simon. He does not want to be a guy who's known for losing to Michigan, regardless of what else he accomplished.
That was not a fun aftermath.
No.
After that game.
No.
That was not a fun 3 weeks. That may have been the longest 3 weeks of their lives between that game and then the Tennessee game.
Yeah, I mean, and just imagine what you're doing at the Woody to kind of, I don't know, like get through all of that, right? Like, I imagine those workouts.
What are they going to do, Pat? What are they going to do? They're just going to win the national championship.
Right, and those workouts probably weren't like, hey, you guys have a couple weeks off. Let's take it easy. No, you lost to Michigan.
Even if the coaches said that, like your bodies are a little bit banged up, okay, we're going just through, maybe not the motions is the right word, but it's going to be an easy day. I don't think that the seniors and the leaders on that team allowed that to happen.
Right.
Which
you saw the results.
Yeah, you did. You saw the results, and those were pretty nice. With this being, actually, you know what? I was on last night's prep sheet, so I could click on the Jeremiah Smith article because I didn't have it up. We got a couple of Buckeyes who are ready to break out in the NFL this season. We'll tell you who coming up in 2 minutes. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
Working your way through that honey-do list? That means more flushes, more showers, more fiddling with the thermostat. Trust the pros at the Waterworks with your plumbing and drain cleanings and repairs and all your heating and cooling needs. Our certified pros can repair or replace your furnace or air conditioner. Clogs? Call the Waterworks. Drain cleaning? Call the Waterworks. Plumbing issues? Call the Waterworks. Furnace repairs? Call the Waterworks. The Waterworks. Trusted neighborhood plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling experts.
Let's be honest, we could all use a little vacation from the ordinary. But with Tim Hortons' new refreshers, you don't need to pack your bags. Just sip, relax, and enjoy your refreshing 16-ounce vacation. With tropical mango packed with real pineapple and mango pieces. And strawberry watermelon kiwi featuring real pieces of strawberry and kiwi. Also try it with lemonade or coconut milk. A choose-your-own taste bud adventure. Head to Tim's for the new refreshers. Your 16-ounce vacation awaits. Only at your neighborhood Tim Hortons. At participating U.S. restaurants.
Experience the ultimate gridiron experience at the Ohio State Football Training Camp, presented by Safe Flight, Bob's Discount Furniture, and Weber, happening at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center July 31st through August 2nd. Don't miss your chance to get the first look at your Ohio State football team. Bring your friends and family and dive into the excitement with inflatables, giveaways, and more. Tickets are limited, so get yours today to ensure you don't miss out on the fun. Visit universe.com/OSU Training Camp 2025 to purchase your tickets today.
It's Kubota Orange Days. From America's #1 selling compact tractor to zero-turn mowers and versatile RTVs, get your perfect match delivered to your door. Now through June 30th, get 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months or up to $3,500 off BX23S tractors. See the details at KubotaOrangeDays.com.
Visit BuckeyeKubotaDealers.com to find a dealer near you.
The Buckeye Show is sponsored by CareSource, proud to be your home for Ohio State Athletics. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
It's time for your daily dose of vitamin B. B stands for Buckeyes, just in case that wasn't clear. You're listening to The Buckeye Show.
We're here on The Buckeye Show, brought to you by our great friends over at Coors Light. Those mountains are blue. You know, those suckers are as cold as the Rockies. Might have a couple of those tonight. Might have a couple of tomorrow.
It's a good time for that.
Yeah, it is.
We may talk about beer on the 4th of July in a segment or two.
That may be on all three of our top fives. So We'll see. That's what we're doing. Power 5 best things we like about the 4th of July coming up in our next segment around 6:46 this evening. I was watching, I don't know about you, Pat, if you're a big fan of the New Heights podcast with the Kelsey brothers. I don't know if you listen to that from time to time.
Sarah loves it.
Does she?
Quite a bit. Yeah. Okay,
so for those of you who don't know, Sarah's Pat's lovely fiance and much better half. And I stumbled upon this today. I think I was reading the Skull Session on 11 Warriors, and they had kind of mentioned this. And I'm not a big New Heights guy, but obviously respect what Jason Kelsey has done in his career and what Travis Kelsey has done. And I've seen clips pop up from time to time. And this was rather fascinating as we get ready for another football season, college and the NFL, and guys who could pop, guys who can get ready to pop. And here was Travis Kelsey talking about one of his newest teammates, a guy who the Chiefs picked at the very end of the first round, Josh Simmons, offensive tackle here. Now, if you remember, Josh's season shortened at Ohio State, torn patellar tendon, I believe, was the injury. Here was Travis Kelsey's first impression of Josh Simmons at Chiefs camp.
The one I'm looking forward to, I just got to be honest, that left tackle position was something that was somewhat of a revolving door all season long for you last year. Have you seen this kid yet, Josh? Josh Simmons, to me, watching the tape in college, it was absurd. Yeah. Like the athletic ability and size. Trav knows because I've been watching this dude.
I've been preaching my eyes on him. You already know. I've seen it. He was playing defensive end as just like a scout team defensive end, and he was just playing this gap, but he was being a pro. He was being locked in and being a pro, and I felt that man's hands grab me, and I was like, all right. We're just, I got to come with it, even when he's just giving the looks. I got to make sure I'm got my feet planted, man.
Yeah, it's a strong man. Josh Simmons is a strong man, and Travis Kelce maybe having his own welcome to the NFL moment.
I do wonder what would have been if he, obviously things work out fine, right? You win the national championship with
that was a pretty good job by Justin Fry and the offensive line group at the tail end of last season.
But I mean, Josh Simmons was on his way to potentially an All-American season. Mm-hmm. Probably would have been in line for some of the offensive line awards.
Top 10 draft pick.
Yeah, and that's what I was just going to say. It was probably going to be drafted higher than that. Whether you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan or not, I think you probably root for a guy like that who, came to Ohio State. We talked about Will Howard, really helped himself over the year and a half that he was in Columbus. I guess the rich get richer in terms of the Kansas City Chiefs, right? But look, I think I really enjoyed covering Josh Simmons. I thought he was great from the get-go. From day one when he got to Ohio State, that first game that he played, huge improvement. The Ohio State staff said from the beginning, if you looked, the penalties were the thing we heard about, right, when he committed to Ohio State out of the transfer portal. And there was some of these penalties probably were not necessarily on him. They just get called on him because of situations and whatnot. But he still had quite a few. Yeah. He led the country, but even if you take some of those out, he still had quite a few. Very few at Ohio State.
Footwork and handwork is what usually that is for an offensive lineman.
Right. So drastically improved. I think he's going to be a stud in the NFL. It's good to hear that he's out there doing things because obviously that injury, you don't want it to affect his rookie season like it did his final college season. But
sounds like they're going to be good to go. I was reading a comment from Andy Reid last week. He's going to be, by the time that training camp rolls around here at the end of the month, he's going to be almost fully ready to rock.
And that was his confidence at the combine. That's what he said, but you just never know, right?
Yeah, totally.
A minor setback, especially in a knee, you have big guys like that. Who knows what happens? So good to hear that he's out there doing things. And man, I wonder if he'd ever played defensive line before.
They needed a warm body.
Yeah,
is what they needed.
Yeah, clearly he knew what he was doing at least, even if it's just a walkthrough situation.
Now that was all fun and good with Travis Kelce in his first interaction. Here was Jason Kelce, going to be first ballot Hall of Famer, talking about what he sees in Josh Simmons' tape, and this is about as nice of a thing as you can say about another football player.
I've watched a lot of these linemen coming out the last few years. This kid, he is the closest thing I've seen to a Trent Williams or a Jason, that next level, strength and athleticism.
Yeah.
The only reason he fell to you guys is because of that quad tendon or patella tendon?
Patella injury.
Yeah. What's he look like so far? Yeah.
Man, I haven't seen him in action, but I just heard that he is so strong, unbelievably strong is one thing. So Trav, you saying about his hands, that's perfectly spot on what I keep hearing. But obviously the talent is there, man. I've seen some of his film as well. And, obviously got a chance to win a natty last year. Shout out to him. But, I think he's going to be a great asset to the team. And I'm looking forward to it, bro.
That was Chiefs offensive lineman as well, Trey Smith talking right there. He was the guest on this week's episode. It's Jason Kelce saying, it's the closest thing I've seen to Trent Williams. You know anything about Trent Williams?
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah, he's one of the best offensive linemen to ever roam the National Football League. That's a very nice thing of Jason Kelce to say.
I think if Josh Simmons had half the career that Trent Williams has had, he would be pretty happy with how things went, especially given coming from San Diego State initially.
So to Trent Simmons accolades,
Trent
Williams, not Trent
to be
Simmons.
put in that vein early on. Now you got to go out and do it still, right? This doesn't get you anything.
You do have to go out and do it,
but that's a pretty good guy. Jason Kelsey's seen some things on the offensive line. And so if he is hyping you up that way, assuming he continues to work and do all the right things, I think he's in a good spot.
3-time first-team All-Pro, second-team All-Pro one time, 11-time Pro Bowler, Washington Commanders' 90 greatest players of all time, consensus All-American in 2009, first-team All-Big 12 in 2008 and 2009.
Yeah. Those are some good accolades.
Those are some pretty good accolades. By the way, heading into year 16, Trent Williams.
Yeah, I'd like him to be worse as a Rams fan just because he now plays for the 49ers. But, I mean, you can't deny his talent. He's had some injuries lately. But, again, Josh Simmons would love to have that type of career. And, look, you're in a really good spot with the Chiefs, right?
Yes, you are.
That's been one of the questions.
Unfortunately for all of us,
right.
Yes, you are.
That's been one of the questions, right? Was there left tackle? And obviously there was a lot of talk about, guys moving before the snap and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
You probably now have your left tackle for the foreseeable future. And
we hope so.
Right. And so you got your quarterback. You've got a heck of a coach. They have continuously put good guys around those
They draft really well.
Yeah. How many Super Bowls have they won?
Yeah, a good amount.
Yeah, and they were in another one.
Mm-hmm.
And,
they were in multiple more, actually.
Right. So I think if you are Josh Simmons, you're walking into a great spot. Again, he just has to keep working the way he has to get to where he is right now.
All right. So you mentioned you were a Rams fan there. How did you feel about your guy Cooper Kupp signing with the Seahawks in the offseason?
Yeah, not my favorite destination for him. I did not love the way that all ended.
Yeah.
Obviously, they told Cooper Kupp they weren't going to bring him back. He goes on social media to sort of say goodbye / hey, I'm going to be a free agent. So there's no trade value there. And that's fine if you're going to tell a guy.
I remember you and I were watching some games last year. It was like week 5 or week 6, and the Rams were about dead. Like, they were dead to rights.
Yeah, they started 1-4.
Yeah, their season was about to be over. And then you guys, I forget if it was week 6 or week 7, turned around, and I'm like, all right, well, now, because there was trade talks all through the season last year on Cooper Kupp, and I'm like, well, now you guys can't trade him because you're kind of right back, because the 49ers at that time were not that good. The division wasn't looking fantastic. Right. So then they were thrust back in, and you were very close to getting. What did he play in the conference championship? No, you were one game away. Yeah, but the driving snow game in Philly, you were close to winning that game.
Yeah,
so Cooper Kupp, he leaves. But I did find this good too. Cooper Kupp went on Good Morning Football, and he was talking about one of his new Seattle teammates in Jackson Smith and Jigba, and Cooper Kupp was very impressed by him.
There's a lot. I mean, I think the first thing that struck me was he's a lot stronger. He plays a lot stronger, and he's a lot stronger than I think people know about Jackson. And there's a play strength that comes along with that, being able to be on the field, and his decisiveness is, I think his belief in himself and what he can do, and then being able to go out there and just make it happen. Incredibly competitive, and I think that's one of those things as a receiver, you get into some positions where, hey, I'm impressed, and I've got a plan. Boom, I hit my first move, I hit my counter, and it's just still not there. But the competitiveness to just say, I just know I'm not going to lose. I'm going to find a way to win. Jackson has that. It's similar to what, Puka was like coming in as well. It's just the competitiveness and the play strength are both very similar. And so I'm really excited about being out there with Jax. He's an awesome dude, wants to get better, he asks all the right questions, and he's striving, man. He's striving to find ways to find an edge, and it's going to be a lot of fun playing with him this year.
Jackson Smith and Jigba too, by the way, last year, because I feel like whenever I watch Seahawks games, I don't watch that many of them. They just feel like they're on Mars to me for whatever reason. Like, it's on the West Coast. I don't have really much reason to watch the Seahawks. 137 targets last year, 100 of them hauled in, which was tying the Seahawks franchise record in catches for a year, tied with Tyler Lockett. 1,130 yards, 6 touchdowns as well. The Seahawks have had a fascinating offseason because Tyler Lockett is now gone, playing with the Titans. DK Metcalf, obviously gone. You traded him away. Now he's a Pittsburgh Steeler. You bring in Cooper Kupp. He's going to be like the show this year in Seattle. Jackson is.
Yeah, I don't know what Cooper Kupp will be. It'll be interesting. I didn't like the way the Rams used him at the end, but he's clearly has some tread on the tires that has started to come off. If I'm Jackson Smith and Jigba, I am spending every waking moment I can around Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
Because that's a guy, I think Eastern Washington is where he went to college, worked his way into being a Triple Crown winner, and
won't outwork that guy.
No, and I mean, they are similar. Like, I think there's a lot you can compare between the two. I think Jackson obviously had a much better year last year than he did his rookie year. But like I said, I'm spending as much time. I'm learning everything I can from a guy like Cooper Kupp, because even if he can't still bring it at the level he did, the Super Bowl year or whatnot, he knows what it takes to be successful at that position in the NFL, similar size, all that stuff. So I would spend a lot of time learning from a guy like that.
Yeah, and it's not like Cooper Kupp is a bad receiver anymore. No. It's just not 1,900 yards in a season.
No. And I mean, he's had several injuries and things like that. And as he said in that soundbite, Puka Nacua came in and started to take over that role a little bit. So it made sense that the Rams move on. I think it could be a very good thing for Jackson to spend time with a guy like that.
Get your JSN Seattle jersey now, Pat.
No, that's not going to happen.
It's not a Friday, but we won't be here tomorrow. We're going to do Power 5 best things we enjoy about 4th of July next. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
A lot has changed in 30 years, but we're still that old shoe that feels worn in and well-loved. And well, we smell a little, but you've accepted that. The Fan.
From military life to a rewarding career in IT, kickstart your new journey in a matter of months in the fields of IT and cybersecurity, including AI. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including VA benefits.
Now open. Zumbizi Bay's brand new conservation tower. 3 slides, 1 tower, and endless thrills. Only at
Zumbizi Bay.
Plan your visit at zumbizibay.com.
Delaware County Veterans Services, here for those who served. Located on the ground floor of the historic courthouse in downtown Delaware, our team of veteran county veteran service officers is ready to help you access VA benefits, emergency financial assistance, dental and medical grants, transportation, and more. Need a ride to a VA appointment? Facing a financial emergency? Are you or your spouse simply looking for answers? Then give Delaware County Veterans Services a call. 740-833-2010 to schedule an appointment. Delaware County Veterans Services.
For over 30 years, Schumacher Homes has been building affordable custom homes throughout the Buckeye State. Experience true customization on your land, your way, without any compromises. Come visit any of our 9 Ohio model home and design studio locations to see the latest in design trends and learn about our award-winning building process, or start online at schumacherhomes.com. You'll be surprised how affordable a custom home will be. Schumacher Homes, proud home building sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Hey, Ohio State fan, are you ready for game day? Get hyped and get your crew going with the Buckeye Meal at BK. For $20, you'll get 1 juicy flame grilled Whopper sandwich, 1 original chicken sandwich, 2 mouthwatering cheeseburgers, 3 crispy golden small fries, and 3 refreshing small drinks. Grab your $20 Buckeye Meal today and share the taste of victory. At BK, have it your way. You rule. Limited time only at participating Ohio area restaurants. Tax extra. BK is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Come on over to Heartland and join our family.
Now, community banking is the lifeblood of the American financial system, building strong, lasting relationships. We're just better able to help guide you down life's road. Flexibility is paramount to success. Community banking is alive and well in the Heartland. I'm Scott McComb. Come on over to Heartland, where banking really feels good.
Where banking feels good.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
There's one medical team in Central Ohio skilled enough to care for your favorite Ohio State team, and Buckeyes everywhere. The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center is your choice for the most highly specialized orthopedic and sports medicine care. Our surgeons, physicians, and physical therapists have access to the most advanced treatments and innovative recovery approaches to get you back in your game. Because on or off the field, our team is your team. The choice for your orthopedic care is clear.
It's hot out. Stay in the house and cool yourself with the sweet sounds of The Fan. You can watch on YouTube or tell your smart speaker to play 97.1 The Fan. It's the equivalent of putting ice cubes down your pants. All right! The Fan.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill, because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you're planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Your bathroom's got to go, the vanity's decayed, and toilet's really old. The bathtub's giving way. If Baths R Us a ring, call morning, noon, or night. You do not have to wait to get your bathroom right.
Call Baths R Us for your free estimate and enter to win our Christmas in July $12,500 bathroom remodel with an additional savings of up to $3,000 plus low to no monthly payments. 380-225-2284. Baths R Us, where dreams soak in.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Because there's nothing better to do on a Friday night, let's just rank 5 things. It's the Buckeye Show's Power 5.
It's not even a Friday. That's the best part of the Power 5.
The generic one.
Yeah, it's fine. Who cares? It feels like a Friday. Nobody's working tomorrow, except for Nicole over in the newsroom. Well, she's got to work tomorrow.
But she's got like 12 vacations coming up.
Yeah,
so.
she's good. What's she say? She's going to Georgia and then L.A. and then to Tennessee.
Yeah,
so
for
all
like a
kinds of
spa,
all over the place.
Spa thing.
Yeah, I asked her if it was like a White Lotus spa and resort, and she didn't seem to like that comparison. It's a great show, by the way.
Yeah, I've not watched that one.
It's fun. They're fun shows. Nate, have you jumped into the White Lotus
I haven't
train?
seen it yet.
Yeah, no, they're pretty good. I think you guys would enjoy them. The last one in Thailand was pretty over the top. Yeah, it was pretty over the top, but it was solid. All right, let's do it. Hop into it. Down from 5 to number 1. Things we enjoy most about the 4th of July. Number 5 for me, I'll go first here, and then we can go Nate to you, and then Pat to you, and then we'll just swing it back around here. Everyone is always doing something on the 4th of July. Like I never feel like, what are you doing for the 4th? Nothing. That's never an answer. Everybody's always doing something. Even me, which makes it that much more impressive. Because you know me, Pat, I am an enjoyer of nothing. I like doing nothing. Yes. I think it's good for the heart. It's good for the soul. I don't really enjoy people that much, but everybody is doing something. I'm going to hang out with Mike tomorrow. That'll be a good time. Have a little cookout. Got some chicken. Got some brats. Got some steaks. All kinds of good stuff. So I like the fact that everybody's always doing something on the 4th. Nate, what do you got?
As someone who has had to work pretty much every 4th of July I'm aware of, my favorite thing is getting that half day of work and getting to go home at like noon.
That is nice. It is a good feeling. I've had to work the 4th of July too. It's not that fun. Thanks everybody for working tomorrow. Right. If you are working tomorrow, thanks for doing your obligation to society and doing your occupation. But yeah, it is nice when you get that half day, or if you get the full day off for sure. Patrick?
Well, Nate, you stole mine there a little bit because I don't take, as you know, Beam, I don't take many days off. My laptop is almost always with me.
Always. Doesn't matter if you're at a bar.
Right. But
mostly if you're at a bar,
right,
it's
well,
open.
I mean, I'm just there a lot. So
your last name is Murphy, of course you are.
The 4th of July is one day where I don't feel like we need a bunch of content up on Bucknuts because no one, as you mentioned, is sitting around doing nothing and reading what we're writing. So that is a day when I literally, unless something happens, and there have been days when kids have committed or whatnot, and I have to, make sure everything goes right, just paying attention. But for the most part, that's my favorite thing is I can just not worry about what's going on in the world of Ohio State sports because no one cares that day.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a good feeling. Disconnect, Pat. It's good for you.
Yeah, every once in a while.
Number 4 for me, either yard games, card games, drinking games. There's always something going on at the festivities. I know that Meredith and Willie, they're still up in Michigan. They have a huge cornhole tournament. Her mom is her playing partner, and she is very competitive and deathly nervous that her mom's not going to uphold the standard that she wants her to be at. So whether you're a cornhole person, hillbilly golf, getting together with friends, playing euchre, I feel like there's always some sort of activity going on alongside of the barbecue. So that's my number 4 favorite thing. It's always something to do. Nate?
My number 4 is usually I get to hang out with my niece and nephew all day, and I just get to throw them around the yard all day.
How old are they?
They are now entering the teens.
Oh, boy.
But for the last, 10, 12 years, I'm just going to throw them in the pool.
Yeah, that's always fun to do, isn't it? We did that with Willie for the first time.
You become the human jungle gym, essentially.
Yeah, you do. When we were I was up in Michigan last week. William, he was learning how to jump off the jet ski and off the docks, like into the water. And at one point, I just threw him.
You just throw them into the water. Yeah, that's how they learn.
Just throw, and then he wanted to do it. That's all he wanted to do was jump off of me. So that's fun. That's a good time. Patrick, 4 for you.
My 4th is the Nathan's hot dog eating contest.
Yeah, classic.
Love it.
Is the chestnut playing tomorrow? Eating tomorrow?
I have not.
I believe he is in.
Okay, good.
Because he did not go last year.
Right.
So yeah, I have several traditions that happen on the 4th of July, but watching that usually while eating, which is a really weird thing to do, that is certainly on the list here.
Yeah, that was honorable mention for me, the hot dog eating contest. I do like it. If I have the TV on, I will flip it to the hot dog eating contest
Right.
if I'm not doing something else. I would just say these next two will go hand in hand. Eating your grilled meats, all right? I'm just going to put a pin in that. We'll come back for number 2. Eating whatever you make on the grill is number 3 for me. Nate, number 3 for you.
Number 3 is also having the grilled food into my stomach.
Yes, all right. Consuming said grilled meats.
Food.
Yeah.
Just in general.
Hey, all right, so we're all lockstep. We're all lockstep on number 3. Now, my number 2, because I like to do this, is the actual act of grilling the meats.
Oh, okay.
I enjoy, maybe more so than eating the meats, having a full grill, because it's very precise. Now, it all depends on what you're having. If you're having hamburgers and hot dogs, like that's a pretty easy grill to manage. But like if you're throwing in some steaks there, if you're doing chicken on the other side, like you're doing burgers, you're doing hot dogs, and you just got to figure out that rhythm of the grill and the temperatures and where to put things and how many intervals you can get of beers between burger flips and everything. The actual act of grilling the meats and having the grill going, I think, is my second favorite thing. Nate, what's you?
My second favorite thing is, of course, washing said meats down with a frosty cool beverage.
Yeah, that's a good one. That could be number 1 for me. I don't know. I don't want to give away my answer. Pat, what's your number 2 favorite thing about 4th of July?
Beer. And one of the things, too, is I don't know how it works for everybody else, but I feel like most people are pretty relaxed about open container as long as you're not, just walking around being ridiculous. Put it in a solo cup, and you seem to be fine. I was talking to a buddy the other day about the Doodah Parade, which happens on the 4th. Mm-hmm. He was like, yeah, as long as you're not being silly there watching it, you can have a beer while you're doing it. I generally walk around places with the beer, no driving, but walking around. So, yeah, there will be plenty of beer consumed on the 4th of July tomorrow.
Yeah, that would be my number 1, enjoying a nice frosty cold beverage. So that's number 1 for me. You guys went with that at number 2, and it's a little above that for me. That's number 1. Nate Dogg?
My number 1 is someone who's been in music radio for many, many years. I've been asked over the years to put together many a 4th of July playlist.
Yeah.
And as a subversive jerk, I may have put in such patriotic songs as Born in the USA or Rockin' in the Free World or Fortunate Son, just to watch everyone sing along on the 4th.
That's a good job. What about Back in the USSR?
I've done that occasionally. I'll throw an American Idiot or something every now and then.
It's America themed.
Very American.
Yes. Pro or con, it's very American. Patrick, what's number 1 for you?
We touched on it earlier, but the Upper Arlington Parade, just because I grew up with it, if you've never done it, well, there's probably no reason to go if you are an adult, because I imagine it's rather silly. But the traditions, they have a giant
the excellence.
Yes, they have a giant golden bear. Actually, they now have 2 that they wheel down the street. Well, they retired one, got a new one, but now they bring both of them back. Or at
this
least
is a live bear, a live grizzly bear.
No, it is just this inflatable golden bear. They wheel it down the street, and then every 100 yards or so, as people yell "spin it," they spin the bear.
Nice.
And it is quite the scene. I will also throw in, as a part of that, the fireworks. Upper Arlington has and I'm sure there's other places around Columbus that does a great fireworks show.
I am shocked that no one here on the show said fireworks.
Yeah, I've also skipped the fireworks.
I've skipped the fireworks many a time.
Yeah, last year.
It's too late for me. I sound so old. It's too late for me.
Well, I do enjoy a good Doodah Parade.
Yeah,
that's always a fun time.
Parade. But the fireworks, I have skipped them because of the beer, which is why I didn't feel like I should include it. But I think I kind of wrap those two together. The parade in the morning, the fireworks at night, but mainly the parade.
How's your dog with fireworks?
Not great.
Okay. Theo's fine. Like he's fine in like rain. He's fine in thunderstorms, and I don't think he even hears the fireworks.
Yeah, she is better as she's gotten older.
Yeah,
I think. At least that's what I tell myself, because we're hardly ever there. Mm-hmm. But like when they start going off just around town when we're home around the 4th of July, she seems to do a lot better than she used to. She's also better about storms than she used to be.
Okay, good. Yeah, hopefully everybody out with the dog there, that they're not too bad, because I know that is a very big issue for dog owners. So we got a new one-time transfer portal to tell you about. We'll do that in the Pulse next. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
There's nothing Bo Bishop can't do well, except find competent co-hosts. Bishop and Friends.
Weekdays from 9 to noon.
The Fan.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate you snoring every night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I totally get it. But the good news is there are alternatives to the CPAP machine. And Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your significant other will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and of course, it stops your snoring. That's the point. It's quick, it's comfortable, and it's an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea. And he's helped countless patients breathe easier, sleep better, and live healthier, more energized lives. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. Schedule your appointment now with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. You can also visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. Once again, that's sleepbettercolumbus.com.
We've got a story about a little bean doing big things. Soybeans are used in creative ways you may have never realized to make products we use every day. And Ohio's farmers are growing some of the world's best soybeans. By using and eating soy-based products, you make a positive impact locally and globally. Say hey to the largest ag export in the U.S. Learn more about soybeans at soysecrets.org. This ad brought to you by Ohio soybean farmers and their checkoff.
The future of recycling is now at Rumpke Waste and Recycling. The recycling leader has opened North America's largest, most technologically advanced recycling center right here in Central Ohio. This one-of-a-kind facility features interactive displays, educational opportunities, and the ability to process over 60 tons of recycled material per hour. Rumpke is committed to recycling and sustainability efforts, and for more than 90 years, Rumpke has worked to make sure the items you place in your recycling bin get used again. Visit Rumpke.com to learn how you can team with Rumpke to put less trash in our landfills and more of it to good use. Attention Columbus. Town Properties just clinched the title of the largest residential property manager in Columbus, thanks to the Columbus Business Journal. With pride, we oversee 25,000 plus households in the Columbus metro area, ensuring fantastic places to call home. Whether you're on the hunt for an exceptional living space, a top-notch association management company, or a property manager for your multifamily portfolio, visit our website at town-properties.com and let us elevate your living experience. Town Properties, always managing great places to live.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. The Fan. Sports Center.
And I'm Nate Poonerball. The Cleveland Guardians are in Chicago tonight looking to snap a 6-game losing streak as they take on the Cubs. First pitch comes your way at 8:05 with Joey Cantillo taking the mound for the Guardians, taking on Cade Horton of the Cubs. Tonight's scheduled starter Luis Ortiz was pulled and placed on non-disciplinary paid leave through the All-Star break due to an investigation into gambling and betting integrity. At Wimbledon, former world number 1 Iga Swiatek battled back from behind to beat American Katie McNally in 3 sets to reach the third round, making her only the third woman this century to reach the third round in 22 consecutive women's singles Grand Slams. Novak Djokovic and world number 1 Jannik Sinner advanced to the men's side. And in Pittsburgh, the Steelers Inc. GM Omar Khan to a new 3-year deal, leaving him in Pittsburgh through the 2028 season. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
It's time for the College Football Pulse on the Buckeye Show.
Sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Hour 2 for us here on America's Birthday Eve. Got our man Patrick Murphy hanging out with us tonight. That Guardians pitcher story was a pretty wild one today.
That's crazy.
That was a pretty wild story.
2 pitches set off this whole thing.
Yeah, and to be fair to him, they weren't particularly close.
No, they were not. They were just a bit outside, as they would say.
Yeah, that one, Luis Ortiz might have a tough one. I don't know if he's going to have to talk to Major League Baseball. I don't know if that's going to be in a court in law, but that's going to be a tough explanation coming from him.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of cursed this year, the Gardos.
A little bit.
That's all right. Best of luck to them coming up here, maybe second half of the season. They can rally. Nate Dogg, what do you got for us tonight, buddy?
Well, the continuing fallout of the House settlement rolls on. Today, the NCAA Committee on Legislative Relief announced a new one-time waiver allowing D1 athletes that programs placed on a designated student athlete list enter the transferring portal, and essentially the team they go to, they will not count against their roster limits going forward for the next several years, which does beg the question to me, why can't they just stay on the same team?
So I had to read this, and I saw Ross Dellinger was the first one to tweet about this yesterday. And I read his tweet. There is a new one-time transfer portal window. NCAA Committee on Legislative Relief has issued a waiver to permit athletes whose schools place on, quote, designated student athletes list to enter the portal between July 7th and August 5th. DSAs are grandfathered in, athletes exempt from roster limits. And I had to read this tweet over and over and over again. And then I think it was Pete Nakos of On3 later on in the day clarified it for me, because I thought that they were like, okay, this is what we're doing. I know that there's been talk about moving the transfer portal around and moving it up. And I'm like, is this it? Like now if Ohio State or if you're a Bama fan or LSU, like now you got to worry about your guys going into the transfer portal like in this window. But then I realized that it was for players who don't count against the roster moving forward, and it was the kick in for the 85 to 105 scholarship limit. So this will really affect, Pat, in my understanding, what is traditionally seen as like a walk-on in the college football realm.
Yeah, that's how I gather it as well. I could see teams, I don't know, like could you designate players that aren't necessarily that?
I don't know.
What this seems to me is just more work for coaches who do get paid quite a bit, but July has typically been the time of year when they finally get to go on vacation. You know, you've got your season, you've got spring football, you've got the June camps we talked about for a month there, and like most of those guys go on vacation now. I don't know how much this will mean you can't do that, but like Mark Pantoni and his staff have to keep track of these guys, just in case, right? Yeah. And now you have a whole nother window, even if it is kind of a lesser window, so to speak.
It's a one-timer, though.
Right. But you still have to be up to date on everything that's going on, just in case somebody pops in there that might be interesting.
My head about exploded when this first came out, because I'm like, oh, okay. Like, this is going to be a big deal. Now you got to retain your roster. Maybe a defensive lineman who you were after in the first portal exits his new team. And then I realized that I was stupid, and that's not what it's for at all. So, yeah.
I was very confused reading this whole thing.
I know. Yeah, I was too. And it wasn't until about 5 o'clock yesterday when I was really like giving it a glance over, like, okay, this is not really the transfer portal. It is a transfer portal. And there was a bunch of legal jargon and gibberish to go on with it. So I don't think it will really, truly, in the grand scheme of things, affect anything with the Buckeyes for this season. Nate, what else you got for us tonight?
Nebraska head coach Matt Rule was on Greg McElroy's podcast, Always College Football, and was talking about how his 2 years as a head coach in Carolina in the NFL was going to help him out as a coach in Nebraska, and especially when it comes to salaried players on a team, which is all fine and interesting, but I'm just going to read Mike Florio's a comment on this because I think it's the funniest part of the story. Then there's this thing that you were probably thinking earlier and probably goes without saying, but I'll say it anyways. Given that Rule was 11-27 in 38 NFL games, does it make sense to put any stock in his NFL experience helping him?
Yeah, Mike Florio, give or take some of his commentary that he likes to throw in his articles. I think Mike Florio shines when he's talking about legal issues because he is a lawyer. But yeah, he's not one to shy away from his opinions in his articles for sure. To be fair to Mike Florio, it is a rather good point. But Matt Rule was in the NFL. College football more so now than ever, operating more realistically, trending and blending those NFL lines with roster payments. Lane Kiffin coming out and saying it's free agency in college football. That was a couple of years ago, and he's been not trying to die on that hill as he's echoing his same sentiments. But, I mean, I would think that your experience in the NFL can't hurt with the way that college football is going, right? Like, I don't know how much Does that make Nebraska 3% better? Does it make them 5% better? Does it make them 50% better that your head coach knows how an NFL organization in the ins and outs works because you were a head coach at that level? I'm not sure how much it does help out, but I certainly don't think that it would hurt somebody to have that experience.
Agreed. And I think we saw it with Ohio State last year. Bringing Chip Kelly, Ryan Day obviously had some NFL experience. You had guys on staff who played in the NFL. So I agree. I don't think it hurts you at all. It probably helps you at least a little bit. I think the point is valid that Matt Rule's tenure was not great. Neither was Chip Kelly's, to be fair.
And also,
he had one really good season.
To be fair to Matt Rule, David Tepper likes to churn and burn through coaches down there in Carolina.
True. That's true. So, I don't think it hurts Nebraska to have a guy who's familiar with all this, but does it all of a sudden elevate them beyond where we thought they'd be? No. Last year, being a key example, they were fine.
So the smart teams in the NFL carry money over and position themselves through the years. But that discipline, I think, is something that's really, really unique. It's hard because you get to know the players. You want to take care of everybody. Obviously, very different rules in college football and the NFL. We'll see. I've said this on this show again, and I'm sure I'll say it when we get closer and closer to football season. Nebraska is one of my more interesting teams in the Big Ten this year. And what can Dylan Raiola do in year number 2? And can they finally, maybe not get back to what Nebraska was in the 90s, but, can you win 9 games? Can you win 8? Can you try to push for a college football playoff appearance? I don't know if that's going to be any time in the future for Nebraska, but I think that they're certainly trending more that way than what they were in the waning years of Scott Frost.
Sure. And look, it's when Nebraska was dominant in college football, it was a very different time. They were in a different conference.
Were running, college football was played entirely differently.
Right. So I think that it's going to be difficult for them to get back to that. But could they be a team that contends in the Big Ten more regularly? Absolutely.
What else you got for us, Nate?
Our pal, Paul Feinbaum, he was on Get Up on ESPN this morning, and he had one sentence for us, letting us know Arch Manning is the best college football quarterback we've seen since Tim Tebow entered the scene in 2006, which begs, of course, the question, why was he then not starting over a 7th-round draft pick?
Here was the audio, if you haven't heard it, of Paul Feinbaum and the Arch Manning hype train. You can actually hear it in this audio of it officially leaving the station.
The absolute roof. I think there's a reasonably good chance that Arch Manning will be sitting on the front row in New York at the Heisman ceremony. That's assuming that his team does what it's supposed to do and compete for not only the SEC, but for the national championship. And I really believe they will. I think Steve Sarkisian, who's one of the most amazing play callers I've ever seen, made a critical mistake late in the year. He was way too loyal to Quinn Ewers, who was banged up and was really ineffective. Had Arch Manning been instituted in the second half of that game, like Nick Saban did a couple of years ago with Tagovailoa, I think there's a reasonably good chance that Texas would have beaten Ohio State and won the national championship. They're very capable of doing it again this year. I believe also that Arch Manning is the best college football quarterback we have seen since Tim Tebow entered the scene in 2006.
All right, there's a lot to unpack there, but I think a little bit of that is revisionist history.
Friendly reminder, he may or may not have gotten knocked unconscious in one play.
I was just going to say that, Nate. Lathan Ransom put a forearm right through the back of his head, and he bounced off the turf. He lost the football and then stumbled out of frame. I think there's a reason why you only saw Arch Manning play one play against Ohio State in that Cotton Bowl. And if we're doing this whole song and dance, Quinn Ewers brought them back in that game, and they were right on the goal line. You had to have a
Quinn Ewers didn't decide to do a sideline toss on second down.
Yeah, he didn't decide to do that. And you know what? Bad for them, because Lathan Ransom and Caleb Downs were there like rocket ships to blow up that play. And then, unfortunately for Quinn Ewers, Jack Sawyer was there for the unbelievable scoop and score. Pat, they were a goal line stand away from tying up that football game and gaining all the momentum back. And say what you want about Quinn Ewers, I thought he played a fine football game outside of that last play, which will probably haunt him for forever.
Quinn Ewers was 23 for 39 for 283 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then had the very late interception to Caleb Downs. Not great.
And the game at that point didn't matter because they were down 2 scores.
Not great, but good enough to almost win the game, or at least tie the game and see what happens, as you pointed out. I'd ask Paul Feinbaum, does he remember Joe Burrow in 2019? That's the single greatest quarterback performance I've ever seen that season. And Tim Tebow was really good and did a lot of things under Urban
Won a
Meyer.
lot of games down in Florida.
Yeah. Also lost some games. And
yes.
So I think putting him with that is really, really lofting, even higher than what we've heard this offseason.
With the Manning name attached.
Right. But then you're just forgetting other quarterbacks. I mean, Joe Burrow was then the number 1 pick in the draft, has been to a Super Bowl, is an MVP candidate every year. I mean, if the Bengals had any sort of defense, he would be even higher in most people's thinking. I just don't understand how you can negate somebody like that.
Was Andrew Luck not... He was like a can't-miss guy, right, out of high school?
Yes.
Number 1 player in the country, like transcendent quarterback.
I mean, while we're talking Ohio State, like, remember the season Dwayne Haskins had? That was better than Tim Tebow.
5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns.
Yeah, that was better than what Tim Tebow put up. Now, obviously, Tim Tebow impacted things the other ways. He won the Heisman. I get all that. But I think you're missing some guys here in that conversation.
And I also think, too, to what Nate said, Arch Manning was concussed in that game.
Right.
Like, argue all you want if he should have put him back in. Like, go ahead and do that. I just don't think that he was available to return back into the football game.
I also think using the Saban Tua Tagovailoa situation is so ridiculous. It's happened like one time, right?
In the history of ever.
I mean, I'm sure there's other examples where coaches
Not
in big games.
Situation.
But in a national like Nick Saban did something that was unprecedented.
Yes, and you know why? Because he's also Nick Saban.
Right. And if he lost that game, nothing happens. He's still Nick Saban. I mean, you don't get a national championship, but he'd had plenty of those at that point. So I think just to say that a coach should have done something like that is just asinine, because there's a lot on the line if you go to a quarterback who's started 3 games, 2 of them against non-conference opponents that weren't anybody special.
Pat has been working on this for like the last 3 months, and we're going to yell at him about his selections for the Buckeye all quarter century team next. It's the Buckeye Show on the Fan.
We're the highest rated sports radio station in America. There's no joke there. We just are. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
This summertime, it's Modelo time. Whether you're poolside or curbside, kick it with an ice cold Modelo. Time to fire up the grill and turn up. Time to reach for a crisp Modelo or the refreshing lime and salt flavors of Modelo Chelada. Time to raise one to summer, and time to stock up on Modelo before summer is gone. Drink responsibly. Beer and flavored beer imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
Hi, this is Bob Mashetter from Dick Mashetter Ford. Thank you to all of Central Ohio as we head towards 60 years of doing business in the Buckeye State. Dad opened up in 1967 simply trying to offer a better way to buy a car, and we've been working ever since to serve our neighbors. We have served you through wars, recessions, and even a Chinese virus. Here is to serving you and your kids and your grandkids for the next 60 years, except on Sundays when we're closed, because it's the right thing to do. Still 24/7 at mashetterford.net. Thanks.
At Kroger, an annual Boost membership is better than ever. Save up to $1,100 each year on gas, groceries, delivery fees, and streaming options. With double fuel points, unlimited free delivery, and exclusive savings for members, there's so much to love about Boost. Sign up for a Boost membership today. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance is prepared for what's next and protects what matters most to you. With independent insurance agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova Insurance is an easy win for your peace of mind. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you.
Hello, I'm Ross Bjork, Senior Vice President and Eugene Smith, Wolf Foundation Endowed Athletics Director at The Ohio State University. In partnership with AEP, Donato's, Kroger, The Ohio State University, Wexner Medical Center, Huntington, and 10 TV, Ohio State Athletics strives to inspire the community to make a positive impact on children and families in our great state through the Buckeyes Care Initiative. Show and share your support in the community by using the hashtag BuckeyesCare.
It's game day at Raising Cane's. If you want to order like a Buckeye, it's the action off the field you need to focus on. The only play you're running is chicken. So what combo are you picking? Make it a perfect season. We've got tailgates of hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers and cane sauce. And jugs of freshly made tea and lemonade. All available to order online or on our app. This season is about to be unbeatable. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love. Proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
All your favorite and least favorite fan shows are available wherever you get your podcasts. Just type in 971 The Fan to the search bar and hit that subscribe button. It's free.
We're the land of the free and the home of the sunburnt, freckled fat guy.
Join now.
Go behind the scenes of one of the most recognizable landmarks in all of college athletics with a tour of Ohio Stadium presented by Experience Columbus. A seasoned redcoat will be your guide as you make your way through walls of the stadium, into the press box, and onto the field. Upgrade to the VIP package and get special access to the band center and the Ohio State home locker room. From corporate outings and school groups to single-person tours and small families, Ohio Stadium tours offer a variety of options and pricing. For more information, visit ohiostatebuckeyes.com and book your tour. Ohio Stadium Tours, presented by Experience Columbus.
AgPro has been family owned and operated for over 64 years. We take pride in developing long-lasting relationships and offering first-class customer service. Need a new tractor, parts for your used equipment, or reliable service? AgPro has you covered. AgPro is here to serve you and your operation as your hometown dealer. Visit us today at any of our AgPro locations or go online to agproco.com to get started with your AgPro experience.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Sunny skies, light winds, and a nice finish on this Thursday. Get out and enjoy it. Temperatures mid to upper 80s. Just the risk of a shower this evening. It'll be gone by fireworks time tonight. And a great 4th of July forecast. Comfortable in the morning, mid 60s, a little warm in the afternoon. Plenty of sunshine Friday with high around 90. With your 10 weather impact forecast, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jerry Martz on The Fan.
The only radio show that bleeds scarlet and gray. This is the Buckeye Show.
There we got Pat Murphy hanging out this July 3rd. Nice little weather. Feels like it should be the 4th of July with this weather we're having.
It does.
Nice and warm, hot, sunny. And the thralls of summer. And then after we get past the 4th of July, I'm like, I don't really need the heat anymore. I'm good on that. But I'll take it.
I had to go find I have a 4th of July outfit that I've worn.
It's not the one that you're wearing right now?
No, this is a different one.
Your USA soccer kit?
Yeah, I have it's a tank top that says back-to-back World War champions.
Yeah, nice.
I actually wore it for a beer Olympics that we won in like the year after I graduated college, maybe.
So it's your good luck shirt.
Yeah, exactly. I wear it probably only once a year on the 4th of July. I now have added to it with an American flag short sleeve button down. Just goes over the top, makes it so I get less of a chance of sunburn.
Yeah,
but
yeah, that's pasty.
Yeah. That's the attire for tomorrow. I had to wash the button down today because it was very wrinkled. I found it balled up somewhere.
And also the funny thing about you have not grown at all between middle school and now. So some of the things that you wear have a nice vintage to them.
I have a T-shirt from 1995.
What year were you born, Pat?
1989.
And it still fits you.
It's very tight.
Yes,
I wear it,
but it fits you.
It has a couple holes in it. It was a big shirt at the time. I got it at a soccer camp I went to, and I will wear it to the gym every once in a while when it's like laundry day and I don't have any other good gym shirts.
What is the camp? Is it like a PSV Eindhoven camp shirt?
No, it was a St. Louis Ambush shirt. They were the indoor soccer team.
That's pretty cool.
At the time, yeah. Next time you're over, I'll pull it out. I'll put it on for you.
Good. I would love to see it.
Yeah, you can see my nipples through it.
I can't wait. You just got me excited. Wear it the next time you're in here, right?
Okay, I'll do it Saturday.
All right. So how many days did you spend working on this? Because it's quite the list.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's going back to early last week when I first started pondering this idea. To full disclosure, 24/7 Sports is owned by CBS Sports, and a lot of these CBS Sports NFL sites did a very similar thing. So it was sent to us as a, hey,
this is gaining traction.
Yeah, this is doing well. The one they specifically sent out was the Pittsburgh Steelers one. So that was kind of the blueprint. So I didn't come up with it all on my own, but I did tweak it a little bit.
Was Cam Hayward on that one?
I believe so.
I think
I don't have it pulled up anymore. It was up on my computer here for the entire time I was doing it. So I go reference like, okay, how do you do this? How many positions did this guy have?
So this is what it is, and you can go read this on Bucknuts, or we're just going to read it all to you here in the next two segments. Ohio State's all quarter century team. Did it ever dawn on you that you could have just put all century team, considering that it has just been since 2000 since we've been in this century?
Again, that was how the CBS article was written.
All right, Buckeyes roster filled with legendary stars. Ohio State is regarded as one of the premier teams in college football, boasting stretches of dominance that other programs envy. The Buckeyes have only increased their standing during the first 25 years of the 21st century. Since 2000, only Boise State has maintained a more consistent winning rate than Ohio State, with the Buckeyes claiming an 84% of their games. That's pretty high. I didn't know that they had an 84% winning percentage dating back to 2000.
I saw a couple different numbers, but 84 was like right in the middle. So
okay.
It's all right around
Is that because of the vacated season?
I don't know.
Is that why those numbers are a little bit different?
They were all right about 84%. So it just kind of depended on the list. But the lists were all basically ranked the same. It was just the percentage was off for some reason.
Let's get into the offensive line first, because I feel like, you can argue about offensive line. It's not as fun as arguing about quarterbacks. Offensive line, you got starters and you have backups. Taylor Decker, Andrew Norwell, Pat Elflein, Wyatt Davis, Shane Olivier. It's hard to go against any of those guys. All those guys had fantastic careers at Ohio State.
The biggest difficulty, and I asked a bunch of people. I asked friends of mine who are big Buckeye fans. I asked Tim May of...
you catch my drift?
Yes, that Tim May. The right tackle position. Because how often has it been when Ohio State has had two really good tackles? Usually if you're the best tackle on the team, you get moved to left tackle. And it was like, oh, this guy, oh, no, he didn't play right tackle. He played left tackle. Oh, this guy, no, he was actually a right guard. Like finding a right tackle had really had a good career was difficult. And the point of this was to find players that actually played the position. So I wasn't just going to throw Paris Johnson in there.
You could have.
He could have, but he played right guard and he played left tackle. And that was actually the biggest complaint I had on the offensive side of the ball, is that I did not include Paris, which I think is fair.
If you were just going like offensive lineman, like positionless offensive lineman, he would, without a shadow of a doubt, be on the list.
Absolutely. But Taylor Decker had a longer time playing left tackle. Remember, Paris only played the 1 year.
Still doing it up in Detroit, too.
Right. And Nicholas Petit-Frere started over Paris Johnson when he was put at right guard. So I didn't feel it was right to put Paris over either of them. They all had similar accolades and things like that. But yeah, Paris certainly could have been, and maybe I could have had 5 backups instead of 4, but I included Donovan Jackson, who we know can play both.
Mm-hmm.
I also included Billy Price, who could play center and guard. TJ Downing got a lot of hate. Well, they didn't like me putting TJ Downing. I don't think it had anything to do with him. But TJ Downing was a mauler on the 2002 team. He doesn't have quite the accolades, but it was also a very different time.
Yes.
And I don't know. I remember TJ Downing very fondly. But the point of this, and I made this clear on our message boards, like, you are going to disagree. Not everyone's going to have, if you did this and Nate did this.
They would all be different teams.
None of us would have the same team.
Right.
No.
And we could all spend.
None of us would probably have the same position group, like 3 or 4 players or however many you go with.
Yeah, and we could make very valid arguments for guys, not just on the offensive line. I'm talking at any position, like wide receiver. There are so many guys that we could talk about. Defensive end.
Yeah.
I had 4 total defensive ends. You could have had a lot more.
Tight end, you went with Jeremy Ruckert, Ben Hartsock, and Cade Stover.
That was a pretty simple one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
No love for our guy Jake Ballard, though, who we're watching currently right now trail the New England Patriots in Super Bowl 42 on the NFL Network.
I have a feeling that he's going to be all right. Well,
I have a feeling that he's probably going to end that night with a Super Bowl ring.
Yes.
That he's going to be just fine.
Yeah.
So let's go down to running backs, because I think there's the most room for debate for quarterbacks and wide receivers here.
Sure.
You got Zeke, JK, and Trey.
I think Zeke's a pretty easy winner there.
I also think JK is a pretty easy one, because if you look in Ohio State history, like record books, like JK is near the top in about every single category.
Yeah, he is the only player to rush for 2,000 yards in a season. I put Ezekiel Elliott as the starter. I think his all-around game, like, you can't measure his blocking, right? And that was something that we heard not only while he was at Ohio State. Remember, he spent 1 season with a broken wrist, I believe it was, something on his arm. Still was a fantastic blocker. Still didn't have issues carrying the ball. So that's why I put him above J.K. Dobbins, who also had a ridiculous career. But, like, the intangible part of I guess it's not intangible, but the non-statistical part of his ability to do other things was key for me. And then Travion Henderson, if you take the injuries out, he may be number one. I mean, who knows what his numbers look like? He probably doesn't play a fourth year, but I mean, that kid was as explosive as anybody that you've had. Again, another position where there were quite a few guys could have had.
Yeah, Beanie, Maurice Claret.
Yep.
I mean, it goes on a long way down that running back list since the year 2000. I'm going to put a pin in quarterbacks. We're going to come back to that one. Wide receiver, you went with 6 guys here. And this, I think, would be the hardest position to do. Even if you just go the last 10 years, I think that it would be extremely difficult to replicate. What was your criteria that you're going off of for the wide receiver position?
Well, I think it was different for each guy. And let's be clear, I wanted specific positions. So you had your 2 outside receivers and a slot guy. And so we went with Marv. We went with Jeremiah Smith.
Okay, it's hard to argue against those 2 guys.
Right. I think there is so for the outside guys, Marvin Harrison, Jeremiah Smith, and there were some people that were like, Jeremiah hasn't done enough yet. I'd argue that he's already established himself in the top of Ohio State's wide receiver conversation, but I get it. And then Michael Jenkins, who I don't think people realize.
Who's there is where's the picture at? If we used to have a picture of Michael Jenkins up here with Holy Buckeye somewhere. It's gone. Someone took it.
Do you know who has the most receiving yards in Ohio State history?
That would be Michael Jenkins.
It's Michael Jenkins. And a lot of people seem to be surprised when I told them that. And I went with Santonio Holmes on the outside, Chris Olave, Ted Ginn. A lot of people were frustrated. Ted Ginn does come
Dane,
up.
Dane, who was in here right before we were.
Yeah. Santonio
Smith.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many.
Terry McLaurin.
Santonio Holmes, like
Ben Victor.
Go back and look at Santonio Holmes' statistics. He was as consistent as anybody in his 3 years. I mean, his numbers, yards per season, were better than Chris Olave's. He had more touchdowns. Chris Olave had more touchdowns. And then the slot, I went with Garrett Wilson, who played that position for a year and obviously was good.
He was so good in the slot, too. That was a fun year.
It was unfair to put him in the slot and have him match up with the defenders there.
I thought was the peak of the mesh route Ryan Day offense.
Yeah, and then Jackson Smith and Jigba, and he would have been over Garrett, I think, at the slot if it had been more than the one season. But that one season was just so good.
We'll yell at Pat about quarterbacks and the defense for the all quarter century or just century team in 2 minutes. It's the Buckeye Show on the Fan.
Get the last roof you'll ever need with steel roofing from Menards. Steel roofing is durable, providing your home with the best protection from wind, hail, and fire. Choose from 29 stylish colors that will enhance the appearance of your home while also reducing cooling costs, keeping you comfortable all summer long. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for more great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards. Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
Soy has been keeping secrets, and it's ready to share. Soybeans are among the most versatile agricultural products. They are used in creative ways you may have never realized to make products we all love and use every day. Ohio is leading the way, developing new uses for soybeans to support our changing world. Soy low-key slays, and I'm here for it. Learn more about soybeans at soysecrets.org. This ad brought to you by Ohio soybean farmers and their checkoff.
The future of recycling is now at Rumpke Waste and Recycling. The recycling leader has opened North America's largest, most technologically advanced recycling center right here in Central Ohio. This one-of-a-kind facility features interactive displays, educational opportunities, and the ability to process over 60 tons of recycled material per hour. Rumpke is committed to recycling and sustainability efforts. And for more than 90 years, Rumpke has worked to make sure the items you place in your recycling bin get used again. Visit Rumpke.com to learn how you can team with Rumpke to put less trash in our landfills and more of it to good use.
The Buckeye Show is sponsored by CareSource, proud to be your home for Ohio State athletics. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
We're We're very close to Buckeye football. Very close. Uncomfortably close. You're listening to The Buckeye Show.
Doing the show last night with Austin. Murphy, you're in with us right now. And the fan poll last night was, which future opponent would you be most excited to go see on the road? And it was Texas, it was Bama, and it was Georgia. Now, I don't think you've been to any three of those, right?
Correct.
Austin had been to all three of them, considering he had covered SEC football for a while when he was down there in Tennessee. What say you?
Name the three again. Texas,
Georgia, Bama.
Bama, okay. Probably Texas, which I hope to be able to do in a couple of years. I've heard that when Bama's not, Nick Saban elite, that the crowd there is not crazy. Georgia would be cool, I guess.
Austin said hands down it's Athens, Georgia.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah. And by the way, too, and it didn't say this in the fan poll, but I was providing you private jet, 3-night accommodations in like the best penthouse too. Like everything was free and was going to be done like the perfect way.
Well, and that's the other thing too, is like, which city would you like? Tuscaloosa.
I know.
I don't know much about Athens, Georgia, to be fair, so I'll take Austin's word for it. I've been to Austin, Texas, and that is a good place.
It's a lovely town,
despite their soccer team. But I mean, if I'm picking one though, like outside of this list to go to, probably LSU. Like LSU at night.
I agree. That's my number one college football stadium bucket list.
I've heard Ole Miss, just like the tailgating and everything that goes along with it.
Yeah, what do they call that down there?
The Grove?
The Grove.
Yeah.
I was going to say the Quarry, but I'm like, that's Indiana. And they're not similar places at all.
They're different.
I've been to Bloomington before. I've done that trip.
Also,
as every Buckeye has in their life.
Also a good place to go. Probably not for football, but...
hey, what are you talking about, man?
It's
the
fine.
SIGs got them rolling.
It's fine. It's a small stadium. There's not a lot to see there.
No, there's really not. It's fine.
Can you tell that I'm putting this off?
Yeah, I can tell. So you put together on Bucknuts list of the all-quarter century team for the Buckeyes. Here's who you took at quarterback. Now, I don't have a problem with you personally. I just want to let you know this before.
This is going to get ugly.
I yell at you. Quarterback, you have one starter and you've got two backups. You have C.J. Stroud as the starting quarterback for the all-century team. C.J., unbelievable in his 2 years here at Ohio State. I go back to that first game that he played on the road against Minnesota on that Thursday night opener, and people were calling for Kyle McCord after C.J.'s performance, and then you get to the end of C.J.'s career and that incredible game that he had against Georgia and just everything that he was doing. If you want to argue for C.J. to be the starting quarterback for the all-quarter century team, that's fine by me. Troy Smith is the backup. Okay. Guy had one of the best seasons in Ohio State football history. Won a Heisman Trophy. You did that with Troy Smith. Won you not a national championship game, but got you to plenty.
Right.
All right. And then you have Justin Fields as the backup. How the heck is JT Barrett not on this list? How is he not on here, Pat? And I know that JT, if we're talking about, well, which quarterback from Ohio State history would you want to quarterback a game? JT's probably not winning any of those arguments. JT was a stone cold killer.
JT wins the longevity award. No doubt about it.
He does.
He's at the top of all of the award lists that feature, like career yardage, career touchdowns, all that. You know who's number 2 in almost all those categories? CJ Stroud, who did it in 2 years.
Yeah, he did.
JT was a 4-year guy. JT also, let's not forget, did it, and this is I'm not trying to bash JT Barrett here. I'm just defending. JT Barrett also was not the starter to begin 2015.
You're right. He wasn't. That came up in conversation the other day when Austin and I were doing the show.
Nor was he the quarterback at the end of 2014, which is kind of an important part of the story.
You were right, Nate. That is not. You're not incorrect.
Not his fault. He got hurt. That's unfortunate.
Right.
But look, to me, CJ Stroud is the best guy that's ever thrown a football at Ohio State.
It's hard to argue against.
Right. And so with the way offenses are, and I think if Troy Smith plays today, maybe we're talking about something different. You can make that argument with wide receivers as well. Like some of the wide receivers, if they were in an offense today as opposed to when they were under, say Tressel, their numbers probably look a little different, right? So, again.
I think Terrell Pryor and Ryan Day's offense probably looks different than what he did running Tress's offense.
The other one, and I wasn't sure which way you were going to go, JT Barrett or Braxton Miller was the other one I got. And
I love myself some Braxton.
Right. And look, again, I just think from a pure passing standpoint, CJ, Troy, and Justin were just different. And look, I thought about doing an all-purpose yards or an all-purpose player, but that's not a real position on a team. And this was supposed to make a team. So Braxton was certainly in the conversation. I do mention JT Barrett as being...
Isn't he the Big Ten's leading passer of all time?
Yeah, but again, he was there
for the
years.
most games.
You know who leads Ohio State in passing efficiency?
Will Howard.
No, CJ Stroud. Passing efficiency, he was one season. This is for a career.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
But that was also a career, was 1 year out of Will.
Yeah, yes. Yes.
It was.
Yes. I mean, there's plenty of guys you could have, again, Dwayne Haskins one season.
Yeah, it was incredible.
What if you took Joe Burrow as the ultimate backup and then encompassed what he did in LSU? No, I didn't.
Let's get into that social media mess again. Is Joe Burrow a Buckeye?
I think, though, there's the argument between CJ and Troy is kind of my argument here, where CJ's got the numbers, obviously, but to be they say, what are the 3 goals at Ohio State? Beat that team up north, win the Big Ten, win the national title. CJ is 0 in all of these. Troy's got at least 4 of them.
Yeah. You're right.
You're right. And I certainly mentioned the Michigan stuff when it comes to quarterbacks. I didn't mention it with other positions. Look, I think that's
if it's the leader of your team, I think for your all-century team, you've got to have those accolades.
Yeah, and that's fair. That's fair. I think you also, when looking at CJ, just the level that he took things to. I mean, Justin, I think, raised things. Remember, you're coming out of Dwayne Haskins, obviously a great one season. Everyone thought it was going to be Tate Martell the next year, and then Ryan Day pulls a 180.
Where did Tate Martell rank on the list?
He was not high. And no disrespect to Tate, but he is the only quarterback in Ohio State history to throw at least 10 passes and complete them all.
Yeah. I remember Bill Landis going nuts in live time when that was happening.
Yes. And so that there is something to that. But yeah, I just can't. I watched CJ do some ridiculous things. You mentioned the Georgia game, that Utah game. And I think about those Michigan games, and I completely agree. You're the leader of the offense. That falls on you. CJ took responsibility in both those losses. He also was pretty good in those games, regardless of the loss. Also, fun fact for you here. Most people don't know this, and I've gotten heat about this before. CJ Stroud is the only 2-time Heisman Trophy finalist ever.
Is he really?
Because back when Archie won back-to-back, they did not do finalists. You just had a winner. So, in
it's
theory,
the only program on planet Earth that has a 2-time Heisman Trophy winner and then a separate guy being a 2-time Heisman Trophy finalist.
Right. And,
Pat, I'm not going to lie to you, kind of put my brain into a blender.
I know.
With that one.
And people got really mad. I pointed that out in a CJ story I did at the end of his career. People were like, "Well, you can't say that because Archie won twice." I was like, "Well, they just
technically there wasn't a finalist."
Also, losing to
didn't Tebow get a finalist twice
in Ohio State history?
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Bryce Young and Caleb Williams, not terrible guys to lose to. It's in the Heisman.
Yeah, I mean they were fine.
Yeah, one of those is your guy.
Which one?
Bryce Young.
Yeah, he is my guy. All right, let's head to the defensive side of the football. It's always, it's a good exercise, and it really just boils down to. Who do you like and who do you revere the best?
Sure.
I mean, for me, I'm always if I had one quarterback in Ohio State history at the top and peak of their powers, and you're going up against name your team, an all Michigan team against an all Ohio State team, at least for this quarter of a century, who do you want quarterbacking? I will always go back to Braxton.
Yeah, and completely understandable. Before we switch off quarterbacks real quick, somebody did comment that Joe Bauserman deserved to be on there for the most completions to fans.
That's low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, it is.
All right, it's low-hanging fruit right there. I mean, shout out to Joe Bauserman.
Yeah, good for
He
Joe.
was having a tough time that year. Hey, it ended up all right.
Yeah.
He was fine. He's doing fine. Defensive end, Chase Young, Joey Bosa. It's hard to argue against those two.
Yeah, backups Nick Bosa and Vernon Golston.
I was going to say Vernon Golston was a top 5 draft pick.
Yes, and I intentionally did not look at draft picks because I didn't think that really affected their career. But I am aware of where most of these guys got drafted. A lot of people were like, Nick Bosa's the better player. And if you remember, he had a good sophomore season, but then he gets hurt his junior year and he was the leader in sacks for half that season until Chase caught him, but
caught him, and then the next year eviscerated,
right,
and just dominated everything that was in front of him.
Yeah. So Nick's Ohio State career, not quite that of his brothers or Chase's.
We'll get to this final part of the defense.
You're just dragging this out.
And hashtag Buckeyes next. It's the Buckeye Show on the Fan.
Tweet from a listener. Are you carrying the Buckeye game today? Considering we've never not carried one, yes. The answer is yes. The Fan.
Your bathroom's got to go, the vanity's decayed, and toilet's really old. The bathtub's giving way. If Baths R Us a ring, call morning, noon, or night. You do not have to wait to get your bathroom right.
Call Baths R Us for your free estimate and enter to win our Christmas in July $12,500 bathroom remodel with an additional savings of up to $3,000 plus low to no monthly payments. 380-225-2284. Baths R Us, where dreams soak in.
Got one of those days that never stops? Try a stop at Speedway. Refresh your fuel tank, refresh your U-tank with 69-cent large Big Gulp drinks. And refresh the vibe for any drive. Refresh at Speedway with 69-cent large Big Gulp drinks with Speedy Rewards and try exclusive Mountain Dew Infinite Swirl flavor for a limited time only. The convenience stores of Speedway. Valid through 8/26/25. See app for full terms.
Experience the ultimate gridiron experience at the Ohio State Football Training Camp, presented by Safe Flight, Bob's Discount Furniture, and Weber, happening at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center July 31st through August 2nd. Don't miss your chance to get the first look at your Ohio State football team. Bring your friends and family and dive into the excitement with inflatables, giveaways, and more. Tickets are limited, so get yours today to ensure you don't miss out on the fun. Visit universe.com/OSU Training Camp 2025 to purchase your tickets today. What is dippable and dunkable? And now at Donato's, it's Donato's new chicken dippers. Flavorful boneless chicken breast tenders served up with 7 amazing dipping sauce options, including new garlic parmesan and sweet chili. For a limited time, try new chicken dippers for just $5 on the $5 Pizza Pals menu. More toppings, more flavor, more fun. Donato's. Gotta love more.
As America's largest custom home builder, Schumacher Homes believes a top-quality home should be affordable for everyone in the Buckeye State. We work with the leading architects to bring you the latest in design, and then you have the ability to make changes. Not just selecting finishes, but moving walls, adding rooms, literally customizing anything from the ground up. It's a misconception that custom homes have to be expensive. We work within your budget to build an amazing home on your land. Visit SchumacherHomes.com or any of our 9 Ohio locations.
Hello, I'm Ross Bjork, Senior Vice President and Eugene Smith Wolf Foundation Endowed Athletics Director at The Ohio State University. In partnership with AEP, Donato's, Kroger, The Ohio State University, Wexner Medical Center, Huntington, and 10 TV, Ohio State Athletics strives to inspire the community to make a positive impact on children and families in our great state through the Buckeyes Care Initiative. Show and share your support in the community by using the hashtag BuckeyesCare.
Morning Juice is now on YouTube weekday mornings starting at 6. If you're a fan of Bobby Carpenter, he's ready to attack and dominate. If you're a fan of Jeff Goodoff, drive directly to a hospital. Seriously, The Fan.
Do your good-looking shoes hurt and you don't want to wear ugly shoes? At the Good Feet store, we can help you wear your heels, boots, and dress shoes again in comfort. Trade in your bad feet for good feet at the Good Feet store.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you're planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Listen to Financially Fit Radio with Corey Sickles this Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on 1460 ESPN, covering topics like what you need to know about annuities and how to stay healthy and enjoy retirement. Financially Fit Radio this Saturday at 9 a.m. on 1460 ESPN.
Want to know anything about the Fans contests, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Social media can be a cesspool. Allow us to navigate the waters. #Buckeyes.
Sponsored by the Waterworks. Call the plumbing, heating, and cooling technicians at the Waterworks and header today. Call 614-232-2222. Proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Just a heads up, we're not here tomorrow, but one show. Morning Juice doing live show on the YouTube stream, 7:30 tomorrow morning. Either streaming on the Fan app or on YouTube or wherever you listen to the Juice. They will have Columbus Blue Jackets legend Rick Nash on with them tomorrow at 7:30.
That's a commitment. 4th of July. We were talking earlier,
He's
not having
Canadian.
to work. Well, yeah, but I mean the guys that are doing it.
I'm playing in a golf tournament with Austin on Saturday. And
thanks for the invite.
Yeah, well, you don't even golf, so you're welcome.
I drink beer.
You're working.
I could ask for it all.
That's true. You could technically.
That's why I'm working, I guess.
Yeah. So originally, Jackets insider Jeff Sabota was supposed to be part of the field for the Marysville Marathon, and then the Jackets are having a development camp on the 5th, so he cannot attend the marathon because you got to commit to 36 holes if you want to be an entrant into the field. He was unable to do that because he has to work. Still a better situation than when he had to get called in for Mike Babcock's introductory press conference. That did not work out too great for the Jackets. But anyways, Morning Juice tomorrow, 7:30. They're going to talk to Rick Nash, which will be very, very fun. Can't wait to listen to those guys. Let's finish up your all-quarter century team, shall we?
Sure.
Last where we left off was defensive end. Let's get the defensive tackle. Cam Hayward, first ballot guy, was probably the first name off the list, was he not?
Yeah, I mean, him and Jonathan Hankins to me were pretty much
game
no-brainers.
wreckers.
Yeah, I made sure to, even when there was a guy that I thought for sure, like I wanted to look, I went through All-American lists and things like that to see who were the captains too. I looked at that because you can't assess that, but like if there's a tie between two guys, this guy was a captain, this guy wasn't, things like that. So yeah, I those were the two, though, that initially popped into my mind.
Leaks on there. Good performance, good career. Obviously, at Ohio State. Capped off with a national championship last year. Good job out of Tyleek Williams. And then you went with Haskell the Rascal, Haskell Garrett. I think Haskell kind of gets slept on in the pantheon of Ohio State defensive tackles. Like, he was fantastic.
A lot of people had some not so nice things to say for my inclusion of Haskell Garrett. He was a 2-time All Big Ten performer.
Mm-hmm.
He was a second-team All-American in 2020. 2020, shortened season, so didn't have as much opportunity.
National championship game appearance.
Correct. Do you remember what happened to Haskell Garrett before that season?
Yes, he got shot.
Yeah, and not that should decide things between other guys, but to come back from being shot in the face to play, I mean, that happened in the summer, I believe, if I remember it correctly.
Yeah, like middle of the summer.
Right, and so I could probably pull it up here. But
that's all right.
To come back and do that, have an All-American season, help on a national championship team, I thought he was deserving of it. Were there others? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, our guy Mike, you forgot about him.
I did not
He answered your phone call unprompted, and you left him off your quarter-century All-American list?
He answered your phone call.
No, he answered Reimer's phone call.
Well, but it was, you provided the assistance there. But then he beat up on us in FIFA that night, so that wasn't very nice.
He had a nice time. Linebackers, A.J. James, Ryan Shazier. Okay. One's a 3-time All-American, one was the 4th overall draft pick, and one may have been the freakiest athlete to play linebacker at Ohio State so far. Backups, Karp, Tommy Eichenberg, Darren Lee. We also forget how good Darren Lee was in that national championship season.
Even the next season.
Yeah.
He was, I mean, that's a guy who they brought in. I remember Luke Fickell really advocating for him in recruiting because he was a 3-star athlete, didn't really have a position. That first year, if I remember correctly, sort of moved around. They finally found him at linebacker. I mean, he was a difference maker on defense. And there were a lot of guys that contributed, obviously, to the 2014 national championship team. But I don't know if they're as good as they are defensively without a guy like that, because I don't think there was a guy like that on the roster. Could you have plugged in other guys on defense maybe and still had some success?
Yeah.
Yes, but a freak athlete like that. Tommy Eichenberg, some people push back on that one. Look, there is something intangible. If you talk to guys that played with Tommy, very quiet, but when he spoke, everyone listened. Yes.
Speaking grunts.
Right. And the guy played through injuries. I mean, there was a reason
Tommy Two Thumbs.
Yes. There was a reason Cody Simon had to wait his turn after starting earlier in his career.
You could have put Cody Simon on this list.
Well, yeah, but again, Tommy Eichenberg started over Cody Simon. So
he was older than he was.
They were the same class. One just played a fifth year.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah. So
one also got a ton of postseason accolades in his cap off at Ohio State.
Yeah, well, you win a national championship, that happens.
Yeah, Rose Bowl defensive MVP, Cotton Bowl MVP, and they weren't giving out first-round MVPs, but cracked Nico Iamaleava's helmet twice, and then had a fantastic game against Notre Dame. Cornerback, Malcolm Jenkins, Jeff Okudah, and then Denzel Ward and Marshawn Lattimore. Yeah, Malcolm Jenkins, dude.
Yeah. Talk to James Laurinaitis if you want to know some things about Malcolm Jenkins.
Yeah.
Those two were together, both underrated in terms of recruiting, both exceeded expectations at Ohio State.
Jeff Okudah was all world.
Yes. Jeff Okudah, I mean, remember when Denzel Ward sat out the Cotton Bowl against USC and they just plugged Jeff Okudah in and it was like, oh, this guy's just as good, maybe better.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah, that's when you're stacking talent right there. Denzel, I think Marshawn, ability-wise, argument to start, but the hamstring injuries that held him out of so many games. Denzel was great, no doubt about that.
Safety, I feel like this would be probably pretty easy for a first-teamer, and Malik Hooker and Mike Doss. Malik Hooker had one of the most fantastic seasons at Ohio State, and Mike Doss never missed a tackle.
Right.
I mean, okay, you can do that, and then we can argue about the second team if you want, but Dante Whitner, and then you going Caleb Downs. I don't have a problem with youth. If you're throwing Jeremiah on the list, I certainly don't have an issue with you putting Caleb on there.
Yeah, I mean, Caleb, a unanimous All-American. I think that's enough said. Like, say what you will about some of those lists. To get every single one of them says something about you. Malik Hooker with his interception returns for touchdowns, I believe.
Even just his total interception numbers.
Just first all-time with those. Mike Doss, I had some people that said like it was a different time offensively, but
but he did the job at a very high rate.
He was just a playmaker.
Who cares? He was the best.
He was the best. Yeah,
exactly.
Thank you, Nate.
Also, if you've ever met Mike Doss, and not to say anything negative about the rest of these guys, one of the nicest human beings on the face of the planet.
He's awesome.
Yes.
I got a chance to meet him a couple of years ago at our fan golf outing, and he was having a great time, and he was a lovely human being.
Been fantastic every time I met him.
All right, so let's go to our specialist, shall we? Who'd you go with for kicker, Pat?
Mike Nugent.
Yeah, okay.
That was one I didn't have to look much.
Was there even a number 2?
No, there was no backups on special teams.
Yeah, Nuge, okay, we got that. Punter, you went with B.J. Sanders.
Yeah, that was one I really had to dig in because B.J. Sanders was punting and then he wasn't. And I was like, why was he not punting that year? It turns out they had a pretty good guy on the national championship team in, the name is escaping me right now. I'll think of it here. But
A.J. Trapasso.
No, it was, hold on, I'll think of it. But I really debated Andy Groom.
Okay.
I really debated between those two. Cameron Johnston was another one.
Cameron Johnston, very good.
But yeah, I went with B.J. Sanders. I think if you're arguing punters and no one has argued punters with me, then I think you're really getting in the weeds. Kick returner, punt returner, I don't think there's any question. It's Ted Ginn Jr.
Yes, it is.
And I had a bunch of people who were like, Ted Ginn should have been one of your receivers. Actually, Ted Ginn's numbers as a receiver aren't as impressive. Again, different offense.
Yeah.
But even his like yards per catch, there are some guys, as I was telling you in the break, some guys that exceed that you wouldn't expect. But I mean, Teddy was a playmaker, no doubt about it.
Head coach, you went with Tress. There's arguments for all three of them. There's arguments for Ryan with what he's done and his winning percentage. There's arguments against him with the Michigan performance.
Right.
There's arguments for Urban and the amount of talent that he pumped out. National championship won 7-0 against Michigan. Tress to you kind of brought it all back.
Right. You come out of the John Cooper era and like, look, there were some really good Ohio State teams, but they just didn't get it done because of losses to Michigan typically. With Tressel, you got over the hump with Michigan. You won a national championship and you played in 2 more. I know you lost those games, but getting to a second and third national championship game, it deserves some recognition. I also think what a way to introduce yourself to Buckeye Nation in 310 days.
Here in the classroom and in 310 days up in Ann Arbor.
Yeah, so look,
it's so iconic.
Like if I think in the new college football video game, right? They've got coaches, you can create your coach. Like if I think of the Ohio State coach that I'm making, at least for my lifetime, it's going to have a sweater vest, and that's because of Tress, and that's why he's on there.
And you know what? You're more than free to do that on July 10th when that game comes out. Patrick, I had a great time tonight. Have a fantastic 4th.
You too.
Okay?
Be careful out there.
Yes, everybody be careful. Enjoy your holiday. We will be back on Monday. Everybody have an awesome evening and a long weekend. We will talk to you at the beginning of next week. Happy birthday, America. Talk to you later. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
We test marketed naming the show A Guy and His Butlers.
Oh, that is very touching.
But we thought Bishop and Friends had a better ring to it.
Weekday mornings at 9.
The Fan.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code TURN to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code TURN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code TURN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Go behind the scenes of one of the most recognizable landmarks in all of college athletics with a tour of Ohio Stadium presented by Experience Columbus. A seasoned redcoat will be your guide as you make your way through walls of the stadium into the press box and onto the field. Upgrade to the VIP package and get special access to the band center and the Ohio State home locker room. From corporate outings and school groups to single-person tours and small families, Ohio Stadium tours offer a variety of options and pricing. For more information, visit ohiostatebuckeyes.com and book your tour. Ohio Stadium Tours, presented by Experience Columbus.
They're trained. They're prepared. Let's do it. They're Ohio's undefeated plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling team. And they're here to tackle your problems. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
There's one medical team in Central Ohio skilled enough to care for your favorite Ohio State team, and Buckeyes everywhere. The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center is your choice for the most highly specialized orthopedic and sports medicine care. Our surgeons, physicians, and physical therapists have access to the most advanced treatments and innovative recovery approaches to get you back in your game. Because on or off the field, our team is your team. The choice for your orthopedic care is clear.